Today's episode of the Outline Podcast is brought to you by Grammarly. Grammarly is the best app to make sure your writing is at its best. Grammarly makes sure everything you type is effective and mistake-free. It's available on your phone and also on your web browser. I use it for all my writing and I absolutely love it. You can try it by going to www.getgrammarly.com/outlinepod. Once again, that's getgrammarly.com/outlinepod. Today's show is also brought to you by Audible. Audible wants you to know that listening is the new reading. People have to work during the day, and when you're not listening to podcasts, you can be listening to new books, bestsellers even. I know Jennifer Lewis's book is phenomenal, and it's available on Audible. The listeners of the Outline Podcast can get that book or any book for free, and you get 30 days to listen to it. After that, it's $14.95 per month, and that's a great deal for unlimited listening of books. Go to www.audibletrial.com/outlinepod to get your free book and free trial. Once again, that's www.audibletrial.com/outlinepod. Now, let's start the show.
The Outline, with Kevin Dwayne. The Outline, with Kevin Dwayne. This is the Outline with Kevin Dwayne. Kevin Dwayne, with Kevin Dwayne.
Yo, what's going on? It is the Outline Podcast, and this is Kevin Dwayne. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's show. We are less than a week away from Christmas, so I hope that you are enjoying your time off, your time with family. Hope you're getting your Christmas shopping done. I got mine done in about 30 minutes on Amazon. It was the quickest I've ever shopped in my life, and I am very pleased. Got some good gifts, and I didn't have to leave my house, and that is the best part of it all. Outside of that, I haven't really been in the Christmas spirit, and I think it's just because I am an adult with no kids. I truly believe that we're into Christmas when we're kids, even teenagers, maybe even college because we're off, but as an adult, it's just time off of work, which is great, and I'm going to enjoy it, but I'm just not into it. I'm not feeling it. I listened to Christmas music for about an hour on Saturday, and then I went right back to listening to regular stuff. It's not connecting. And I'm not like a Grinch or anything like that. I'm just not feeling it this year. However, I am going to a Christmas party on Saturday, and I'm going to a brunch the morning of Christmas with my family. So hopefully by that time I will at least enjoy myself there. Well, I know I'll enjoy myself because I will be with loved ones, but it hasn't been kind of like this overall holiday feeling, if that makes sense. It's just been a relaxing time, and I'm grateful for that. I enjoy how slow it is at work, and I like that I can catch my breath and reflect on the year, but I don't know, something is just disconnecting from me this year, and it is what it is, but I hope you guys are having a great Christmas time, and I hope that your Christmas is everything you want it to be, and yeah, that's that. So let's talk about Janet Jackson, because I saw her on Sunday. I went to the last American show for State of the World, and apparently they're going to go to Japan and Europe, or they're working on that now. But right now, the show is over in the States. And let's talk about how I cried like 2 or 3 times during the show. And it wasn't even during slow songs. It was during upbeat shit like Escapade and Nasty and Together Again. I was sitting in my seat watching Janet Jackson perform flawlessly, and it occurred to me that Janet Jackson has been around for my entire existence. She has soundtracked my entire life. There are not many artists of that caliber that I can say that for. Yes, I love Brandy. Yes, I love Beyonce, but they came later. Like Brandy appeared when I was like 6 or 7 years old. Beyonce appeared when I was 12 years old. Janet Jackson Control was out when I was born. And I can literally go through her catalog and pinpoint certain parts of my life all the way through present. And that's amazing to me. So I'm sitting at this show watching her slay the stage like only she can. And it hits me, the memories and nostalgia, the fact that I'm seeing her again. I saw her again. I saw her before in 2011 for the Number Ones tour. And that show was great, but this show was leaps and bounds ahead of that one. Like it's like she gets better with time. So I'm sitting there watching her perform. I'm just amazed that I'm watching this living legend. I start thinking about my parents who have passed on, who introduced me to Janet Jackson, and I just start crying. Like I just get overwhelmed and I'm sitting there tearing up, sitting next to these white people next to me. And I'm sure no one was paying attention to me because they're busy looking at Janet as they should have been. But I'm sitting there crying and I'm just super emotional, filled with joy, but also thinking about my childhood and thinking about my upbringing. It just all kind of hits me. I'm like, damn, Janet has always been there. Janet has always been in my life the entire time. And that is absolutely amazing. So for me to be in the presence of greatness like that on Sunday, it really took a hold on me, and it was a great show. There's just no words for it. It was at Phillips. She had no opening act. She came on at 8:45, just walked right on out with her cane and just slayed the fuck out of the show for the next hour and 45 minutes or so. It was a great show. She covered her set list was like 27 damn songs. She hit everything, favorites, the singles. She did the video versions. She performed it as you thought she would. Of course, she slayed If. Of course, she slayed Rhythm Nation. It's Janet Jackson, and I just have so much respect for her. And I'm happy to be able to see it for myself, and I can tell future generations about her. I don't have to just look at footage online. I got to experience it. So man, it was so amazing. I ended up buying a $40 shirt, which I kind of protest against. I'm like, I'm not about to spend that money. The reason I bought it, when we got there, I got in line, I wanted to get a program booklet. By the time I got to the front of the line, which wasn't that long, they ran out. And the guy's like, I'm sorry, this is the last show. So we had a limited inventory. I don't have it. And I'm like, well, I'm already in line. So fuck it. Give me a shirt. I'll just go ahead and spend this $40 on the shirt. And I'm glad I bought it. It was a great tour. It's great memorabilia. And I'll cherish it. Yeah, damn. Janet Jackson. Janet Demita Joe Jackson, man. Like, phenomenal show. And I'll probably write something else about it too. I was just that inspired by it. And I just her work ethic and her consciousness, like Janet's been woke. Janet has always talked about pressing issues. She's always had a classiness about herself and a certain edge, and she just had to remind the people. And I think also seeing people give her just due, like that Super Bowl shit is in the past, and it's time to just give her flowers and say, listen, you are the blueprint, and it's much respect. Like Janet Jackson, like give her respect. Stop acting like she didn't do anything for the culture, because she did. And she has hella receipts for that. And I think that's the best part. It's not just fans saying it. Look at the goddamn receipts. Look at the history. So yeah, that was my stand moment. I really enjoyed the show. It really affected me in a way I didn't even think it would, but phenomenal, phenomenal. Before I get too ahead in the show, I also want to mention that I'm on Sensei Raven. He was on the podcast in about June or July. We talked about how we all can't be broken. He's also my yogi. He has a podcast called The Healing Space. It's pretty much everywhere you can find this podcast: Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, all that stuff. So go subscribe and listen to it because I am on there this week. I mean, listen to it because it's a phenomenal show. He really talks about all forms of healing, and it's a great therapeutic podcast to listen to. So this week's episode is called Sexual Healing, and we talk about sex. And I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I think I was pretty damn entertaining this week. And it's a great conversation. And I'm sure it will make you laugh because if you know me, or if you know me on this podcast, you know I don't hold back when it comes to anything, especially sex. So head on over and subscribe to THS Podcast. That's the healing space. And listen to it. It's all about sex. It's a good time. It's fun. I just really think you'll enjoy it. So check out his podcast this week. Also, well, there's no more announcements about me doing that, but check out the podcast. But other things that are going on, Issa Rae, man, like, okay, so 2017, I feel like if anything, this was the year of the come up when it comes to the likes of Cardi B, Tiffany Haddish, and Issa Rae. I mean, Issa Rae's been winning for a couple years now because I mean, Insecure is just my all-time favorite show right now. Like, I feel like it's bumped up so high because it's the only show that I feel really captures the millennial. I've talked about this before. Long ago, I would watch shows like Girlfriends and Martin and other shows, but the characters are always older than me. And so I always had to kind of say, oh, when I get older, maybe I'll be like this. And for the first time with Insecure, I feel like it's a show that really captures where I am in that moment. I don't feel like I am putting on. I'm like, this is actually how it is for us. And I just love it. So she being Issa Rae, has two new shows that they're trying to pilot at HBO that HBO has accepted in their First Look program. In fact, I was reading an article on Complex. It's actually three shows. There was a show that she's been working on about a family living in LA in the 1990s that she's been working on for the last few years. But there's two more shows that HBO is going to pick up. One called Him or Her, which is going to be centered around a bisexual man, which I am here for it because I feel like we need to talk about bisexuality more than ever because we try to erase it like it doesn't exist. And it does exist. It's not being selfish. It's just you're attracted to both. Doesn't mean you have to have both at the same time. So I hope they tackle all of that. But that's one show. Then there's another show that's going to be centered around teens who live in the Windsor Hill area. Windsor Hills is I guess a suburb in LA that's very affluent. And there's a lot of rich black people there. I saw this article that was saying it's called the Black Beverly Hills, but they said the same thing about Baldwin Hills. So it's kind of like, which one is it? I don't really want to use that phrase for both of them because they both can't be the Black Beverly Hills. But Windsor Hills is a very affluent black area in Los Angeles. So there's another show. So it's going to be a teen drama. So those are two shows. So I'm just here for it. I'm here for the come up. I'm here for her getting her own little empire going. And now I'm just sitting here like, okay, so how do I get my ass into the industry so I can audition for one of these shows? Because I want to be a part of an Issa Rae show. And the acting bug is hitting me more than ever. And that would be a dream come true. But I am so happy for her. I love Issa Rae, and I'm glad she's getting her just due. She's been putting in work forever, and it's nothing more beautiful than to see people work super hard and get what they deserve. Speaking of that, I talk about Garrick. It's the third week I'm talking about Garrick on the show. So Garrick and this book, man, Parental Discretion is Advised. It's everywhere. He was featured on Beats One Radio this week. He had a dope ass interview on Noisy, which is a Vice station. Angela Yee has picked him for her book club, which they'll be discussing it. Actually, they discussed it Tuesday night. So she picked this book. I'm like, man, like my best friend is winning so hard right now, and I could not be any more proud. And here's the thing. Do you guys know he gave me the first interview? I didn't realize that he gave me the first interview on the book. So that wasn't even a goal of mine. And it dawned on me and I'm like, damn, like that's so dope. Like that's so dope. But I'm super proud of him. The book is amazing. Listen to the interview on Beats One Radio. And yeah, like I just love that everybody's winning right now. Everybody's winning. And it's a beautiful thing. I love to see people succeed. I love to see people do their thing. Um, because it's hard. Like being a creative and really just being consistent and having the determination and just it gets hard out here. So I'm in full support of people getting what they deserve. So yeah, shout out to Garrick. Love you, man. But on the flip side of people and creatives and stuff like that, I do have somewhat of, I guess, kind of like how the read has their read at the end of the show. This is not a read, but it is me kind of airing out a little bit of frustration because I've stayed quiet about this for quite some time. And I'm trying to put this in words where it's not disrespectful. So if the shoe fits and you feel I'm talking about you, try not to be offended, but just understand that's not my intention. My intention is not to offend, but it's to free myself of my own frustration because at a certain point, something's got to give and we have to draw lines. So I appreciate that people enjoy my work. They enjoy my photography. They enjoy my podcast and they enjoy my overall creative nature. And I thank you all for the loving words. I thank you all for the support. I thank you for sharing. But I also have to let you know that I am not this free source of information. So I don't talk about this often. I usually just kind of pay it and I may share it with like close friends of mine because it does kind of drive me crazy. Often, not once or twice, often I get people who will hit me up online and pretty much ask me for free consultations for how to start photography businesses and how to use their cameras and all that shit. And then with podcasting, they'll ask for like full rundowns on everything. And it's not like one question like, hey, can you answer this one question? It's literally people want to know the entire rundown. Like, tell me everything about podcasting you can right now. And it's frustrating, and I'll tell you why it's frustrating. And like I said, if you're offended, that's not my intention, but I have to let you know how I feel about it. I am self-taught. Everything that I have learned, I've taught myself. I Google, I go get books, I research, I get the information that I need. And if it really comes down to it where I need to ask someone else for help, I will. But guess what? It hasn't gotten to that point because I've become resourceful. I don't have a problem answering one question, but I do have an issue with people asking me a bunch of personal questions about my podcast. Like, down to, okay, what equipment do you use? How much did it cost? Did you get a deal on it? So how much money do you make on your advertising? How do you get advertising? How do you do this? How do you do that? How do you do this? What about this? What about that? And I'm just like, research it for yourself. And I'm being completely respectful when I say that. Google is free. But I'm not your personal resource. And what's funny about me saying this on this podcast, I'm pretty sure that it's going to fall on deaf ears because I kind of feel like the people who ask me have actually never listened to the show. I think they've just seen that I do podcasting and they're like, oh, okay, this looks good enough. I don't think that the people that actually have done this probably won't even know. And another thing is, it's not even people that have even made themselves apparent in my life. These are not people who comment on the show. These are not people who interact with me. These are people who are quiet, who I don't even talk to, but then they kind of pop up entitled, like, I want you to tell me this and tell me this now. And then if I do they say thank you? Hell fucking no. Don't even say thank you. So I've gotten to a point where I'm just saying no to people. I'm just saying no. And I need you to understand that it's not me being selfish. It's not me not wanting you to win. I want everybody to win. I want everybody to get put on. It's not about that. But it comes down to respect. And I can't let you siphon all of my fucking resources because you're too lazy to look it up for yourself. Do it for yourself. If you're not willing to do your own elbow work and get in there yourself, then you don't deserve to be a podcaster, to be honest with you. You don't. You don't deserve to be in an industry that you don't understand. That's it. If you have one question, I have no problem answering it. I will be glad to. But at this point in the game, I've done it so much that I do get annoyed when people ask me because it's on some fake ass shit. They don't care how I'm doing. It's always like, hey Kevin, can you tell me this? Or it'll be like a bull, oh, how have you been? I don't know. I love your pictures. I don't know. Anyway, can you tell me about this? No, I can't. Google is free. Google it. I'm not answering any more questions about podcasting or photography. I could teach you, but I have to charge. And you know what's funny is I do get paid now to teach people stuff. So why am I going to give you free resources? I'm not. I'm done. I'm absolutely done. So if you slide in my inbox asking about anything, I'm going to respectfully tell you that I'm not offering that information for free anymore. I'm tired. And to be fair, some people don't even know that. You guys don't know that I'm being asked this stuff often. You're just asking because you said, hey, let me talk to Kevin. He'll probably tell me. But I'm done. I'm done. I'm tired. I can't keep giving these rundowns. And then some people don't have enough social awareness to know when I've tapped out, when I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to give any more information. I'm good. I'm good. And I know that these are people who don't even listen to my show. And that's what's so offensive about it. It's like you don't even support my show, but you want me to give all of my resources to you for free. And then you don't even say thank you. You're just like, all right then, cool. It's disrespectful to me. So I gotta air that out because I'm done. I'm done. If you guys knew how often people were in my inbox asking me these questions and they just want to know everything that I had to learn for myself. And I'm just like, damn, like, did you look up anything before hitting me up? Like anything. And then after I give you the information, you show no gratitude. You say nothing. You're just like, all right then, bye. That's it. So I had to just air that out because it has to stop. It has to stop. I just can't. I'm not trying to be rude, but it's frustrating, especially from people who don't even support me. So that is that. What else we got here? Don't really have much of a long show today. I know I kind of hopped in. I'm probably gonna hop out soon. But I did want to point that out. Something else I wanted to briefly chat about on the podcast with Raven. We were talking about sex. We were talking about emotions being involved in sex and how you separate the two, and then how sometimes when you can be friends with somebody and if you have sex with like a friend or something, how as soon as things get serious, all these ambiguous rules kind of pop up. And that kind of perplexed me. Like, what is that about? Why is it that when we're intimate with someone and we want to move to the next level with someone, we have this new set of rules for boyfriends and girlfriends? Like, where do those rules come from? Like, what are they based on? Because as I said before, isn't a relationship an elevated friendship? Like, it's literally a friend that you're now fucking and sharing shit with, more shit than ever. So where do these rules come from that make things so complicated? You know, the mind games and, you know, the possessiveness, or you can only do this now, but whereas before you could have done this and this, A, B, and C, but now you can only do A and B. Where does this come from? And this is kind of a reciprocal question, rhetorical question. Sorry. It's a rhetorical question. Because I think we know where it comes from. It comes from our family, it comes from our upbringing, it comes from bullshit ass content on television that tells us we have to be different in relationships. But why do we create these weird ass rules? And I know it's because of like insecurities and we're not trusting of people. But at what point do we change up and realize that this shit is suffocating? Like when you have a bunch of ambiguous ass rules for your partner that they must follow to keep you happy and to keep you sane and continue to fuck them, that is suffocating and it's actually damaging to the relationship. Now, there are things you got to do out of respect, for sure. Respect each other, completely respect each other. That's number one. Communicate. You have to communicate effectively with your partner. Over communicate if you have to, because it's important that you are transparent and vulnerable with each other. But all that extra shit, why do we complicate it so much? Why do we do this? We don't do this to our friends though. Like our best friends, we don't do this to. If we have disagreements with them, we solve them pretty quickly. We express them. We handle things. In fact, we don't really get into it with them. But if somehow when you start fucking people, everything gets cloudy, and now you're arguing over stupid shit, like remedial shit, like childish shit. And at what point do you realize that that relationship you're in is just a elevated friendship? It's friends who fuck and share things ultimately. So why are we complicating it with all these ambiguous ass rules? So ask yourself that. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments and all that good stuff. But that's really all I have. It's going to be a short show this week. I'm going to go drink some Crown and enjoy this relaxing time of the year. I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. And I will talk to you guys before the new year. Make sure you subscribe, rate, comment, and enjoy your time. Peace out.